conventionalized versus non-conventionalized constructions. In Bulgarian, the conventionalized constructions are those that are part of normal language usage. They have become accepted as such, whether it could be by the entire population or by a specific standard. All right. Non-conventionalized constructions are those that are possible, but are still they still provoke a reaction, and they may be unacceptable in specific registers. And usually speakers are aware of that. Okay. So when I say I'm anti-causative, you know what to say now, right? Good. So we'll move to Africa, to Swahili, to look at another operation that removes the agent. So far we looked at the passive, that is very widespread. We looked at the anti-causative, that does occur. And we'll look at something that is also very widespread, especially in Africa. And that's the resultative. Now, we'll look at Swahili data. So in Swahili, the noun state, there are two stems of the verb. And one is a non-stative, it ends in a. Then the stative one will strip the a and add a stative suffix, ika. When the verb is used with the stative suffix, you get something like the cup is broken. Okay? Again, it's a completely regular construction. The only thing that this construction says is that we see a cup, we see that it has been broken, that's all we know about it. Okay. If we compare this with the passive construction, we'll see that there is a lot more marking there. And you have to use the different stem, you have to use the passive suffix, and then specify the agent. So that's the difference between resultatives and passives. Okay. In passives, the agent can be backgrounded, it can be removed from the subject position, and come to be realized as a circumstantial role. With resultatives, the agent is completely removed. There is no agent. There is just the state. Which is why in many languages it is referred to as stative, but verbs such as where the state is a result of an action need to be distinguished from verbs that express just the state. Okay. In many languages, words expressing state will also be verbs. So tired is a verb in many languages, sick is a verb, be happy is also a verb in languages that don't have an adjective class. But verbs such as break, chew, kill, they will be encoded to be, when the agent is to be completely removed, they will be encoded by resultative constructions. Okay. Now, the anti-passive is the opposite of removing the agent. Okay, that's removing the patient, and that is very much related to what I'm going to be talking later on in the lecture, namely incorporation. But here we'll look at how patients will be removed from a construction. So we are again up in the high Arctic, and that's Kalasitut, which is also known by the name West Spring Landing. So he no longer uses this kayak This is important. So this kayak is the theme of the action of using, and the verb always goes with the adverbial, and then the verb is marked as transitive, and it has a person number absolutive suffix. Okay. In the next construction, he no longer uses kayaks. Okay, so the statement is not about using a specific kayak. The statement is like, he gave up on kayaks, he goes for scooters nowadays. So in that case, the theme is marked as instrumental. Kayaks are an instrument. It's not something specific. Okay, and you get the verb stem, the zero morpheme for anti, and then anti-passive. It's a zero morpheme, but then we'll see then the adverbial, and then the verb is marked as an intransitive verb. This is where the difference is. Here you get transitive marker on the verb phrase. Here you get an intransitive marker and the person number suffix. So the verb to use has turned into an intransitive verb. Okay. In polysynthetic languages such as Colastitute, lexical stems they come with specific semantics such as use, but then they have to be further specified in the utterance, whether they're a verb, a noun, and what kind of verb they are. So this is what I know it sounds strange to you. Use is always use, right? And it's transitive. It's transitive in the languages we speak. In a polysynthetic language, it has to be further specified whether it's transitive. Then you have a construction that is transitive with a regular subject. Kayak is a regular subject. In an anti-passive construction, kayak is no longer a subject. It is a circumstance of use. Oh, I'm sorry, I said subject, I should have said object. I'm sorry about that. So, I'll repeat it correctly. Sorry about that. In a regular construction, kayak is a direct object that is being used. And when the anti-passive operation has been applied, kayak is no longer an object, it is an instrument of the use. Okay. So when I asked about anti-passive, what does anti-passive mean? If the passive hides the agent, the anti-passive is the opposite of the passive, so what does it do? Here we had an object. By the anti-passive operation, it becomes an instrument. Okay, so it's backgrounded. Okay. When we have an object, it will usually be something specific that we operate on and influence. With the anti-passive operation, the specificity is gone. So it becomes a matter of principle whether I'll be using kayaks for my work or not.
Güzel bir şey yapıyor işte ya. Birinde eylemi etken edilgen yapıyor, bu da nesne edilgen yapıyor.
Okay, he explained it in Turkish. Okay. I wish I could understand that. I'll be talking about incorporation later on. The similarity is that, again, we will go from something specific to something general. Okay. So, yeah, on the map you can see where the lassitude is spoken in Greenland. And now we'll move down ways away to Melanesia and the Pacific. The language called Chamorro. It is a very young language. It's a language that really grew out of what was for a long time considered to be a pidgin between a Melanesian language and Spanish, and it still bears a lot of Creole features, but it has been like it has about 100 years of usage, and kids are learning it, so it has left the kingdom of Creoles, and people classify it as an Austronesian language, but it's one of the most crazy languages I've ever touched. So we'll see further examples of the anti-passive. So in Chamorro, you mark the agents by the ergative. The fisherman caught the fish. You will get ergative marking on the verb to catch, and then you will, if a little bit of Spanish will help to see the Spanish loans, when you have a pre-post definite article and then the fisherman and the noun phrases that don't have much marking. Now, when we put the anti-passive on the verb, what you get is like